Good morning. Happy Saturday. It is 5 a.m. here in the beautiful southwestern desert of Arizona. Well, not southwestern desert of Arizona. It's southwestern desert of the United States, Arizona. I am Captain Coder. We are here. We are going to be working on spilling coffee on myself. Oh, you know it's gonna be a good day when the first thing you do is spill coffee. I slept in today. Usually I've been up for an hour or two by the time I start streaming, but today I woke up about 30 minutes ago. Had to decide, do I want to go back to sleep or do I want to get up and stream? And streaming won. Streaming won. I've been enjoying it. I gotta get this done. Working on Adventure Quest. We're working on Adventure Quest today. I think we're on day 6. Day 6. I did a little bit of coding off stream yesterday. I was having too much fun with it. Building this UI stuff. So I'm having some regrets. All right. So the goal of this project. So this project is supposed to be a project my students. So I have some students who are, for the most part, newish programmers. I'd say half have been programming for a term, and then the other half have been programming for like a variety of time. So for the ones that are like a little bit more advanced, I think this project would be a great project. In my mind, I was like, oh well, an RPG. Tez, thank you for the follow. Welcome aboard. Happy Saturday, my friend. And Happy New Year. We're still in the first week of the year. Barely. This is day 7 of the new year, but welcome aboard. You're always welcome to lurk, but if you'd like to ask a question, please do. I love getting questions. I'm a teacher, and my goal here is to make an educational project. All right. So I've been putting together adventurequest.captaincoder.org. That's where I've been sort of putting notes together on this project for my students, and I'm realizing that this project is just growing more and more complex. In my mind, I was thinking about I wanted to do an RPG, and I often do a text adventure with my students. It's like one of the projects that I do at the end of sort of intro to programming. And so the idea was to create a text adventure with pictures, a text adventure with pictures in Unity, and it's turned into a full-fledged RPG. So I gotta really scale this back for my students. So I think the plan is to actually have my students implement a dice roller, and maybe then the character creator so they make these dice and they utilize the dice to do a character creator. But I actually think the character creator is going to come into select. So I think the first project we're going to do is going to do a dice roller. So they learn about dice notation, and then they end up implementing this histogram thing. So this will be their first project to implement this histogram thing. And then they're not going to actually implement an RPG with this. Instead, now they have a framework for creating, generating random numbers that are not evenly distributed. So you can have like some more interesting random events where you have a level of rarity that you can like think about. It's like, oh, well, that thing only happens 1% of the time, rather than, So anyway, that's the idea. We're going to do this dice notation. Then we're going to go on to the Space Raiders project, where it's the 2D thing. But I think this adventure, this game has gotten out of control. And then I'm going to give them the option to potentially come back to this. It's just building an RPG system that mimics essentially Dungeons and Dragons style stuff can just get so complex, and I actually think it's a bad first project because it's just so complicated. I think it's not a great first project. But that said, here we are today. We are going to be working. We're going to continue working on it so I can explore. I still want to finish it so I understand the complexities of it. I've never built a full-fledged RPG like this. So let's talk about where we're at. We'll do a sign-on and talk about where we want to get today. I do teach lessons on Saturday, so I can't go as long as I might. Well, I have my first lesson's in 4 hours, so I might go for 4 hours, but we'll see. I want to take a break. So where are we with our shop scene? So the idea is I want to make a shop scene. To do this, I had to create an inventory for both the player and the shop. Oh, what's going on? Do I need to reboot Unity? No, there it goes. All right, so our player inventory currently doesn't display gold. I went ahead and gave our player 100 gold. We can see that in our player character. Oh, I've adjusted the character actually. Now it's an interface, so it doesn't show up. The player character is serializable. I need to add a special thing so you can see interface. But now we have a character controller rather than the player character. We have like these observable things. But our player can buy stuff from the store. I click on this, get a dialog, shows the name of the item, the cost, and the description. So we have a description on it. They can keep looking. They can actually switch between them here like this. And then they can purchase it and it'll update in their inventory. This doesn't do anything yet, so there's no sell dialog yet. So we would want to create a sell dialog as well. And there's quite a few things to do here left, but we can buy stuff. We can technically do we have a sell in our shop? Hang on, iShop. We don't have a sell, so we actually need to add in a sell into our shop so that we can actually sell things and get money from the player. The player can get money back. All right, but that's where we're at with our inventory. I made this little highlighter thing so we can highlight text and stuff. Let's run it one more time just so you can see. But yeah, we can highlight. I don't know if that's coming across great in the video, but these will hover over them. Those are clickable now. I was pretty happy with the way that came out. Right, so I did do a little bit off stream to finish this up because I just wanted to get it done. I wanted to see how to get there. And I wanted to, I really wanted to isolate the internal functionality of these prefabs. So one of the things that is potentially dangerous in my opinion, and I don't think this is like a Unity thing, this is just a me thing, is when you use a prefab, all of the knobs, all of the configurations, I think, should be accessible from the top level element. You shouldn't, for the most part, modify the elements underneath. All right, so I wanted to figure out how to do that, and that's what I spent time off stream doing. So now for my shop inventory, my player inventory, my shop inventory just accepts an inventory. It should probably accept a shop, but it only accepts an inventory. My player inventory accepts an observable character, so it has an observable character. So this allows me to register it on my player character. So my player character controller sends it out to other things. It says, okay, well, these are the scripts that can watch me. In this case, the player inventory watches me. No. When my character changes, when the player character changes, it notifies the player inventory and the shop controller. So I can say, okay, well, what is watching me? Just these two things. Those are the two things that are watching me. Then I have my shop controller. My shop controller is a little bit more complex in that it has a couple different observables. It has an observable shop. So the player controller or the shop controller has an on purchase. So it needs to be able to send the message. What's missing? Observable on purchase. I don't think I need that actually. Yeah, because when you buy it, it actually updates the inventory. Interesting. So I'm not sure I need an on purchase anymore. I modified that a little bit. When we purchase something, let's go look at that momentarily. Let's just walking through all the things I did off stream. Shop. Yeah, when you purchase something, it modifies your inventory. Okay, and then our inventory, I created a new class. So if we look at iInventory, our iInventory is an observable. All right, so when this changes, it's able to say, hey, and then let's look at observable real quick. Observable is an interface that says, hey, when I can notify people when my state has changed, and then they can choose to update if they'd like to. And so then if we look at our implementation of inventory, so this would just be inventory. We just say, okay, if anyone's registered on us, go ahead and tell them, hey, we've changed. Go ahead and invoke it. So we just send that message off. All right, so that's how that works. And so when we buy something, specifically in this dialog, the purchase dialog has this here, and it has two buttons. It has the on confirm and on cancel. This is sort of like a a two choice, a confirm and cancel dialog. And then our error dialog actually has just a confirm. So we have these two dialogs. One's confirm and cancel, and one is a confirm. The purchase one, on confirm, it actually sends the message to the shop to purchase it. And our shop controller then, let's open up our shop controller. Our shop controller forwards that message to the actual underlying shop that it wants to buy the item that's currently selected with the character that's in the scene. On an error, we say you don't have enough money, and on a success, we invoke on purchase. But what's cool is this actually calls purchase on the shop, which propagates it down to the inventory, and that inventory propagates it back up on its own. Oh, nice little, that doesn't matter. I'm gonna get rid of that whole section there. And that propagates it back up to our, let me disable these again, our player inventory. Yeah, so our player inventory is observing the character. So if we open up our inventory scripts, so our character inventory is observing the character. And when we observe a character, we say, okay, when the inventory changes, re-render the inventory, re-render this thing. All right, so there's like this nice, look how small these scripts are. They're easier to, because every single file has a single purpose, they're easy to reason about. One thing I need to do here is actually on destroy, observing.inventory.onChange. Menaliki, it's so nice to see you, my friend. Happy Saturday. Oh, I guess I need to keep track of the renderer. Okay. So, really what I could do would be, what would this be? It's just a function. Yeah, so it's a function, system.func. So it's really a system.func of type we're passing it a character, and so the character is sort of the, oh no, we're passing it, oh, this is interesting. Yeah, we're the register, it's an I inventory, and it doesn't return anything if it's actually an action. Registered, we'll call this render. Okay, so the function we're calling is render here. All right. How have you been, Menaliki? I don't know that I've seen you this past week. I'm assuming you've been busy. It's going, Menaliki, I think, one of the things that's really interesting here is even back when I was when I was really, really young, I always loved RPGs, Dungeons and Dragons, that sort of stuff. But I've never really implemented a full-blown RPG. I've implemented like small text adventures, that sort of thing. This has turned into like a massive like RPG engine, which has been awesome. Been super fun. It's out of control. It's out of control with I'm managing the complexity well, I think, but it's out of control with complexity. So it's not appropriate for my students, the level of students I'm going to have next term. And so I'm trying to wrap it up a little bit, and then I need to make a much simpler version. You were off on holiday. Wonderful. Well, I hope you enjoyed your holiday. I really do. So instead, here in my character inventory, we have this, instead of function here, that we're registered. Okay, and we're going to say if our render is not null, all right, then we need to actually remove it. So I'm gonna write it. This is actually gonna end up being here. So we actually remove renderer. Otherwise, we add that renderer function. So this is the type of thing that's like way too confusing for a new programmer. Is you got to understand that, oh, this is sort of like a delegating that off using like quote unquote lambdas here. And so on destroy, if this thing happens to be this way, we're gonna get rid of it like that. And we only do it if it's not null. And so we actually want to do a thing here that says like private clear, private void clear clear listener. And this is basically going to do a null check. It says if renderer is not equal to null, we remove it. And so this is just like an important thing to do. We have to do this if the render is not null and the observing is not equal to null. And then we have to keep track of both of them. We have to keep track of both of them. Observing is iCharacter. Character and render is equal to renderer.render. Although maybe I should just keep track of our render rather than the actual function there. Yeah, I've let it get out of control. Partly, it's interesting because part of that out of controlness happened due to the stream, right? So if we're observing something, yeah, this like state management here, this is like a crazy thing. Not crazy thing, but this is a really complex thing I'm doing here. I don't think it's overly complex. This is a topic here. This, well, coding on true. It's like I've been getting great suggestions through lessons. Well, what if you wanted to have two-handed weapons? What if you wanted to have this? What if you wanted to have that? So I ended up building like this whole complex, like item system. And now I'm building like this relatively complex like store system, an inventory system. And the inventory system has to like propagate events back and forth. And so there's all this event stuff going on that makes it complex. It adds complexity. And so it's like, how do you manage it? Apollo, what's poppin', my friend? Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday if it's Saturday for you. I know it's Sunday for some people, but happy Saturday. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you here. We are doing some refactoring here. This is where, and now I need tests. Like the idea here is I don't have tests. I just changed a whole lot of stuff. So when you add these listeners to your inventory, you got to remember, okay, well, when do I need to kill those listeners? And it's sort of like the lifespan of this thing. So when the character inventory gets destroyed, we actually need to clear that out. So like when you switch scenes. So this is something that you wouldn't think about unless someone told you to think about it. And, function life cycles is not something that I want to introduce in like an introduction to Unity class. That's like a software engineering class. But yeah, I'm making good strides, and I'm really happy with what we've got here. Let's manually test this again to make sure my inventory is still communicating properly. And then I got to do a sign on. I haven't done my sign on yet, so to focus myself in, I think I got to restart Unity. This is really dragging. Yeah, we're gonna restart Unity. Let's save. I think I left Unity on and I put my computer to sleep. So we're gonna close both of these. We're gonna reopen Unity here. Put my computer to sleep with Unity in the background, and that I think that's what caused it to be super slow. Let's reboot that bad boy. But yeah, so for my class project, I think we're gonna do that. I'm glad you're picking stuff up, Meneliki. I like to think that I know what I'm doing sometimes. Like, 7 to 12% of the time, I think I actually know what I'm doing. And the goal is to get that up to 25%. 25%. Yeah, so if I roll a 3d6, my effectiveness is like a 3d6 plus 4 plus 4 maybe. I tend to be down here. On my effectiveness. But that's why I like to do it live. I like to get that feedback. I like to get the feedback. I need to know how to improve myself. And I encourage everyone, get people to read your code, read other people's code, look at what people are doing. That's the best way to get better. And try and have people who are better than you look at it. Increase knowledge by 3%. That's a lot of knowledge to gain. If I could increase by like 0.3%, I'll be really happy. Increase knowledge by 3%. Oh, my font's tiny. Let me increase that so people can actually read it if they're not in like full screen mode. When I'm coding off stream, my fonts, I use a smaller font. Okay. So this should be a little bit faster. I wanted to run this, make sure. Man, I was hoping it would run. Yes, look how much faster that is now. All right. Yep, I broke my character's inventory. Beautiful. Beautiful. Ugh. What? Okay, here it is. Here it is. Player inventory has a player observable. Let's make sure that we're still observing it. It is. Character inventory. This is why I need unit test, man. Because I had changed this code and it broke. It's no longer updating. When we wake up, I don't call render the first time. All right, so the very first time we start observing someone, we actually need to render. All right, so I have this render function, render.invoke with character.inventory. So the very first time I need to actually invoke it on my character. That's why I didn't render. Okay, so when we start observing, we should get Bob's inventory. Bob can buy some stuff. I gave Bob 100 gold. Bob doesn't have I need to make that dialogue disappear too. If we make it so Bob doesn't have gold, so I think I did that in character controller. I think I just said give Bob 100 gold. If we start Bob with no gold, it'll tell us that we don't have enough money. Which is a nice little thing we've done. Poor Bob. Poor Bob. He's got to go kill some elves. Not elves. He's got to go kill some rats. That's what I wanted to say. Bob is an elf. Sorry, you don't have enough gold. And confirm. So we have 2 dialogues. We have the confirm, cancel, and error dialogue. And we have 2 different types of inventory renderers. Bob, we need to make Bob show how much gold he has. So I think I'm going to make it so Bob's inventory has like a gold amount up here. So what do people think? Do you think putting the gold amount in the top right here, bottom corner, or as just part of like an inventory item? So if it was an inventory item, it would just show up as like the very first item in your inventory would always be gold and have some amount. Or I could do something special to where there's an extra character has the same name as a built-in Unity controller. Oh, that's annoying. So I was thinking there'd be a line entry called gold. I could put it as up here, or I could put it down here. If anyone has any thoughts, let me know, because I'm a terrible designer. All right, we did this. Bottom right feels right. Okay, that's like in my intuition kind of felt that way too. Let's try putting it there. Oh man. Whew. Let's. What am I doing? What am I doing? Oh, I got to do a commit before I start. Okay, and then we got to do a sign on. We got to do a sign on. So I fixed a bug here. Okay, so we're gonna. I don't even know what I changed in my Unity scene. All right, so we're gonna add this in. Fix character inventory. Removes listener on destroy. When the character inventory mono behavior is destroyed, it needs to clear its listener on the character's inventory to prevent a memory leak. All right. See, like, I don't want to talk to my students about memory leaks in like their introductory to Unity class. All right, we're gonna go ahead and add that in the bottom right. Let's do a sign on. Let's do a sign on. Let's get ourselves focused here. All right, sign on. If anyone hasn't joined the Discord, you should. If you want to hang out, chat, have a good time, ask questions, check out my Adventure Quest project, give me feedback, and learn to code with all these great people. We got some great people in our Discord. Sign on. Goals. All right, so yes, I didn't do a sign off yesterday, which is, I was in a rush, I suppose. Sign on. Finish weapon shop. So it's gonna be a lot. Finish weapon shop scene. Finish shop scene. Shop scene. This is going to have a cell dialogue. Character inventory displays gold available. Finish shop scene, cell dialogue, and we need like an exit button. Exit shop button. Think that's kind of it from our shop. And then the other thing I really need to do is serialize items, weapons, because we need to be able to transfer between the scenes. So we need to be able to serialize the items and weapons that the player has, so we know what they have. Items, weapons, inventory, equipment, manifest. So that's going to be a whole endeavor. And then 3. All right, so that might be all I get done. And then bonus, add weapon / armor shop database and buttons in town hub. Excuse me. All right, so if I can get this done, I'll be one happy coder. That's a lot. So that's our goal today. Finish the shop scene, sell dialogue, display gold, exit, serialize stuff. So there's a lot to do here if I'm going to manage it well, because my purchase dialogue is not abstracted and my error dialogue is not abstract. Although I don't need to modify my error dialogue. I did make them into prefabs, but they're not super nice. Let's start with getting the gold amount displaying in the character inventory. So if we go over to our prefabs character, player inventory, I should rename this character inventory. And we need to add a new little entry at the bottom. So after this thing here. All right, so we have our inventory, we have our shop, we have our items list. And we're going to add a new item entry. So the thing that's going to be awkward about this is it's a UI change. Can't change prefab. Oh. Because the underlying inventory. Okay. Ugh. Does this mean I can't? The inventory type. Okay. I'm thinking here. I could add it this way. Okay, we're gonna add it. It has to be outside because the inventory thing here, yeah, because the inventory display works different. We want to be able to have different inventory displays. So I don't want to modify the inventory prefab. Instead, I want to add it to the parent here because it does work a little bit differently. Yeah. Okay, so we have a UI element or a shop element or a equipment. It's an item entry. I think I'm gonna still actually the shop entry because it's closer to what I want it to look like. And then I'm gonna actually I'm gonna just unpack it because all I really want is gold amount there without the name. All right, so ideally get rid of the highlighter, so we don't want to hover on highlight. We have the coin. I mean, I can get rid of the name. Okay, so this is sort of what I want. And I guess this thing, my inventory and this thing need to be... So my shop thing, my layout here shouldn't have a All right, let's add in a... This might not be too bad. Horizontal or a vertical layout group. That didn't killed it. Adjust my width and height. The inventory has the image on it. So this image, I think I want that to be... This is a good indicator that, hey, that image, the inventory thing probably shouldn't have the image. In fact, the image should be... All right, can I duplicate this? Copy component should be here. Yeah, because then that lets whoever's modifying it change that to paste as new component. All right, and then I will disable it here. All right, so that gives us that. And let's go ahead and add some padding. It's cool that this just kind of worked. Let's add some padding to the bottom. 20, 10. Okay, and this is gonna be called player 4. Happy Saturday, my friend. It's going pretty well. Great stream last night. Love Factorio. Characters gold. Yeah, so if anyone likes game streaming, Core, I don't know if you stream other stuff. This is the first time I ever caught you streaming, but Core was streaming this Factorio, which is an awesome game. Meneliki, yeah, make some suggestions. You know, I'm not opposed. This is how I get better. Factorios, I love it. I'm not obsessed with it now. I was obsessed with it when I discovered it. This is not an inventory item. Tetrio. I haven't heard of Tetrio, but it sounds like it sounds like Tetris. Characters gold. Okay, and so now we're gonna need a way for this to listen to the on character change. Okay, so we have the inventory. It does dynamically say Bob's inventory. Check it out. When I launch this, Bob's inventory, I'm 3% ahead of you, Meneliki. Haha. See, look. See, look, so smart, I outsmarted myself. But yeah, it dynamically does it. I'll show myself out. Yeah. So that's where this observable character comes from. So this observable character happens. I don't even know where it's doing it anymore. But in the inventory, really, so it's called shop name. So if I should go edit that in my inventory prefab. Hang on. Inventory. Oh, it's just called name there, so I should edit it then in my player character inventory. This should really just be name. All right, we'll do name. My brain couldn't handle it. I was wrong to doubt you. Sorry about that. No worries, no worries. It's a great suggestion. It's a great suggestion. I have to look up at Code Wars. I don't know what Code Wars is. It sounds like the name sounds like something I might be interested in though. Where is all? So this is where my inventory renderer is. All right, so I need to make a character renderer class. Oh, this is crazy. Why is this all modified? I'm not gonna break this now, but I need to make a character renderer. All right, so I need to make a character renderer class. Bum 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 bum. So scripts, UI. Yeah, I don't have a character renderer yet. So create character renderer. All right, so a character renderer is a class that the mono behavior namespace adventurequest.ui. Really, I should probably have a better namespace, probably called renderer, but I'll put an UI here. We got a character renderer. This is it knows how to propagate information about the character places. So it's going to have a public is that right? Public void render. Yeah. So it has a public void render, and it takes in an iCharacter. Gabbins, happy Saturday. Welcome. Gabbins over on YouTube. Yes, I stream on Twitch. Let's see, do I have a Twitch command? I don't know if I do. But yeah, feel free to join us over on Twitch. I have a bot that does it. There it is. Yeah, go ahead, and if you want to come over and chat with us on Twitch, welcome. Come on and chat with us. That's where most of the people hang out. I cross stream to YouTube so that I like to have it saved and recorded, and then I don't have to upload it later. The uploads are always massive. So you got an iCharacter. Oh, I'm gonna have to import that iCharacter character, and then this will propagate the information that I want about my character to the correct places. Okay. So here we go. I did not know that there's something called Adventure Quest. I'm not surprised. Actually, Adventure Quest is a project I've used many times. I've used the name 1,000 times for various different things. I have like a bash quest. I have a progress quest. So bash quest is sort of like a text-based adventure in bash, the programming language bash, scripting language bash. But yeah, adventure quests. I wonder if it's like I suspect it is not really registered, like trademarkable, because it's just such a common thought. But interesting. I didn't know it was an online MMO though. Let's see here. Render character. Yeah. So what are the different things we want to be able to register the character on? And so this thing just has the different traits of a character. So public. So we need to invent the events. The event that I care about right now is the character's gold. Yeah. So public unity event string. Just something. Yeah, Bash is a terminal language. It's a shell script. The Born Again Shell. All right, Unity event string. Gabbins, welcome aboard. I try to stream every day, 5 a.m. I call it Wake Up and Code. Wake Up and Code. So if you check out in my stream below, it's going to change a little bit starting Monday, but it should be almost every day 5 a.m. Phoenix time. 5 a.m. Phoenix time. So around this time, almost every day. I might be dropping Fridays because I work on Fridays. Well, I'm going to start working every day. I'm coming off holiday. I'm a teacher. The answer is yes, there will be a fixed stream schedule, but around this time, as much as I can on a daily basis. Definitely Tuesday, Thursday. Definitely Tuesday, Thursday. Probably close to 7 days a week, but Monday, Wednesday, Friday will be shorter streams. Probably 2 hours. All right, Unity event string on change. This is gonna send out the character name on, yeah, so get private set here. So we're propagating this out, serialized field. But welcome aboard, Gabbins. I'm so happy to have you here. Welcome to our Twitch stream. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Yeah, Cora, my health is always first. Here's the thing, I would be up and coding anyway. That's so I sort of got into the habit of, I've been doing this for years, waking up and coding in the morning. I just recently started streaming, and I was streaming because I'm teaching a class on competitive programming, so I wanted to record myself doing the advent of code to show it to my students. And then it's been too fun. I can't stop. So on render, on change name.invoke, character.name. Okay, so we'll propagate the name, and we need to propagate the gold as well. On change gold. Like that. Wonder. Well, I would do it fancier, but the Unity editor doesn't want me to do it fancier. Yeah, so this one's like a string renderer. So on change gold.invoke character.gold.toString. So now we have this character renderer that we can put somewhere. And in fact, it's going to be attached to this character gold. Maybe. I'm too afraid to stream game dev. My code is spaghetti and people would see me for that. So Menaliki, here's the cool thing. Streaming has actually helped prevent me from writing, like my whole goal is to write more consistent code, right? But streaming has helped me write better code because people in the stream keep poking holes and we're like, hey, slow down. What are you doing there? Maybe I'm sensing a code smell. So it's actually kind of nice to keep me honest with some of the things I've done, which was a surprising effect. I was not expecting that, which has been cool. It's intimidating, though. I will say it's intimidating because there have been a few times. So during Advent of Code, there was a few times where it was just like embarrassing because I would have written something that should have been simple. I wrote incorrectly, but it's getting used to. So like my breadth first search on like day 12, I just put a thing in the wrong spot and I was sitting there walking in circles. Imagine doing multiple lines of code just to get it done in a line. Yeah. So this, is basically overkill here, but we're gonna add in a little guy here. This is gonna be our character renderer. All right. And what we're going to say is specifically this cost, I'll change this to gold amount. We are just gonna register. We don't care about the name on this specific one. And ideally you wouldn't have a ton of these in your scene, but our gold amount is gonna update its text here when it propagates through. And then the character inventory is gonna go and find on character gold. It knows that this has a character, character renderer, so it goes and finds it. So the idea is that you should only have one of these components in here. And in fact, I might even should probably do character renderer like this. Put it up to towards the top. Yeah, I'm gonna move it here. I'm gonna move this here. Character render, it keeps it all attached. I'm gonna have to check out Code Wars. I don't know what that is. Menaliki, can you post Menaliki? Someone in my Discord, can someone post a link to Code Wars so I can check it out? It sounds like something I would enjoy. It sounds like something I might enjoy. I don't know if I will, but I might. If it's just coding puzzles, I think I'd love it. Hang on, sorry. Nightbot's overly dramatic. Nightbot, can I make VIP Manaliki? Boom, VIP. I'm learning things about Twitch. I didn't even know that was a thing until yesterday. Boom. Post away. Just use your newfound power responsibly. You got to be responsible with it. Nightbot. How do I time out? Manaliki. All right. Apparently, Nightbot. All right. Did that work, Manaliki? Can you post again? I'm trying to figure this out. If you can't, keep posting my disc. Okay, I made you a mod. That should not be what I have to do. I've been making people mods who need to post links, which is not. I shouldn't just make everybody a mod. But you're a mod now. Let's go look at the Nightbot controls real quick to see if I can make this not insane. Nightbot. Spam protection. Links. This filter allows you to timeout and whitelist links. Options. Exempt level. VIP. There we go. Alright. Well, you are now a... Let's also make it so it doesn't start timing people out on the second try. Alright, VIP is now... Well, congratulations, Manaliki. You are now a moderator. So you should be able to. All right, timeout. The initial timeout duration. We're gonna change the timeout. All right, links options. No reason to be set to 10 minutes. We'll do 60. All right, and then the custom is gonna be like, if you would like to send a link. First, send it as a DM. Send a link. Post it on the Discord. Or send it as a DM for me to review. Okay, we're gonna try that. Congrats! Don't forget to drink. You can do permit. Look, Core. Excellent. I'm gonna have to learn all of these things. I have no idea how any of this stuff works. I've only been streaming for a little over a month, maybe a little, I think a little over a month, with an audience less, So I'm just trying to figure this stuff out. But I'm hoping that will make it less horrible, because people keep getting banned for posting links when they're trying to be helpful. Hey, Code Wars. Achieve mastery through challenge. Yeah. I'm gonna check this out. Ooh, for educators. Ooh, maybe this is what I need. Oh, this might be the best. This might be the best. So, whoever, Menaliki, thank you. I think Corey, you brought it up. Thank you for bringing Code Wars into my life. Okay, so we were making it so that way our character renderer needs to get notified when the character changes. Yeah. When the character changes, it gets notified. So our character inventory, I discovered this too. Not character inventory, our character, character inventory. It needs to go find our character renderer. So we have an inventory renderer. Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna have two things here. Fascinating. This will be our... Okay, when we get our character here... Observe, renderer. We shouldn't have to do this twice. Okay, so I'm gonna write some little helpers here for this. Private. Oh, why does this always feel a little bit more complex than it needs to be? 7 layers of abstraction. It's great. It's great stuff. So we're doing our inventory renderer. All right, I need to get... Can we add the listener? When it changes, we call the observe. That's okay. Cool. This is caching it. This is caching it. Okay, and then we also need our... So we... Yeah. Observe like this. We need our... All right, let's rename this inventory renderer, and then this one is going to be our character renderer. So one of our children has this, and we'll rename it character renderer. The character renderer knows how to do it as well. And similar, we do a character.onChange. We got to do the same thing with our characters. When the character changes, it needs to propagate that back up to us as well. Annoyingly complex, not complex, but a little bit annoying. So that the easy way to do it would be here on change, add listener, character renderer.render. Right, so this will propagate it the first time, but when you actually change stuff, nothing's going to happen. But we might be able to do that in our character observer, because this is actually our observable character. So our observable character should actually be the thing that's propagating the changes when the player changes. All right, so I think... Because this is an observable inventory, that's why we needed this one. Okay. Let us... It's still not going to work because I don't... When the gold changes on the character, it doesn't propagate it up. But this should... update this the first time. So in this scene, it should set it to 0. Because Bob has zero golds. 0 golds! Alright, Bob. It's okay, Bob. We'll get you some more golds. Let's also adjust the layout there a little bit. Let's make this bigger. I don't know why I'm working in a tiny window. Why didn't anyone yell at me for... Well, I always work in a little... I don't want it to be a giant window. Let's get it... I don't know what's wrong with me. Look, multiple things wrong with me. I don't know what they all are. We're trying. Okay. I wanted to... Stay focused. Gotta focus here. Character inventory. I don't like how close this is to the side, so we're gonna add in our gold. The padding is okay there, so our gold needs to have a little bit of padding to it in this container. Yeah, this container can have some padding. We'll give it more. How much padding does this one have? 20. Okay, so we'll give it 20. And then the coin for some reason has decided to be real squishy. Oh, it's because everything's gotten real small. Character's gold preferred height. Flexible height. Let's not get too annoyed. Alright, we'll just have the padding on the right there and the top a little bit. Okay, I like that a little bit better. And let's give Bob a little gold here in our character controller. Oh, Bob did have 100, but this is because, oh, this is interesting. We load Bob, it doesn't get set to 100 because when we set the gold here, it doesn't notify that the gold has changed. So the idea is we need to notify anyone who's observing us when the gold amount changes. So it does get set to 0 initially. So when it loads up, it adds this listener here saying it was changed. What's interesting is the way I've implemented this like observable thing. Mike over on YouTube, happy Saturday. Mike's my dad, for anyone who doesn't know. So thanks for popping in, Dad. So nice to see you. Story Girl, welcome aboard. Happy Monday. Send Bob out to clear the mine for zombies. I know. Bob's got to work for it. Story Girl, how's your project coming along? For anyone who doesn't know, oh, and Buybacks is here. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to everyone. We made it. We made it to the weekend, and we're here. It's lovely time. For anyone who doesn't know, Story Girl is a musician / game developer. They're working on a game. I don't know if game developer is the right term. Sorry if I've outed you a little bit too much with being a game developer, but doing some really cool artwork and coding and stuff on a game jam project. So be sure to check them out. I don't know how many people are watching, but let's do this here. Go check out Story Girl. We've got some awesome stuff going on. But yeah, happy Saturday. Welcome aboard. We're going to give Bob a little bit of gold here. But we got to make it so our character, this eye character, is observable. All right. So we've added some new interfaces to this stuff, but eye character is actually an eye observable of an eye character. You can observe this character. You can observe characters to get notifications when they change. Okay, and so then this is gonna break our character. So if we go to compile this, we got to update our player character class now. Saying, hey, you've said that I'm observable, but you're a liar. So we're gonna implement this. We are going to implement this. There we go. Not what I want. Not what I want. Can we do implement? All right, really, I just want this. Fascinating. Shouldn't I just be able to do public? What did I say in my eye observable? How do I do this? Public event. Yeah, I should be able to do this. Action character on change. It really wants me to have an explicit interface implementation of get and use an event access. All right, so we'll do it this way. And so what we're going to do is whenever the gold amount changes, we can propagate that up. So now I say, okay, well, the gold has changed. So we're going to do onChange.invoke this. So we propagate. So when you do an event, it allows people to register. Not people, allows objects to register. And so remember, when you're talking about game objects, they're not people. I often refer them as people, but people are not objects. And so we want to make sure that we're explicit here, that this object is getting invoked like that. Okay, so when the gold amount changes, we invoke this change. So that should propagate that out to everyone that's listening, anything that's listening. And that means in our character, observable character. So now we have observable character. This is our mono behavior. We need to actually, objects are people, but people are not objects. Is that what we're saying, Vivax? All right, so our observable component. Yeah, so I'm doing it in, ooh, that's a good point. I'm doing it in onDestroy. So rather than onEnable and onDisable, it's sort of like onAwake and onDestroy. So maybe that's not the right place to do it. That's a good point. But essentially, is our observable character here, I character, in addition to being able to propagate the observed thing back and forth when this guy starts up. I actually think is that the right spot to do it? I've been doing it on awake because even if it's disabled, I want it to still happen. Because these things can be watched by other objects. I think onAwake and onDestroy are the correct places to do it. I could be wrong though. Convince me why I'm wrong. So the idea is I have like this one big class here where this allows us to observe things. But now it's specifically on the observable character. When this one changes, we need to, this is the mono behavior that lets us talk about it. So now our T is an I character, and now we need to register on that I character. Oh, and in fact, it's not on the I character, it's that I need to override this. So it's actually, there we go. Gotcha. So onDestroy might be, but on it, enabled and disabled is related to like setting it active in the scene. And so I actually don't want this specific observable to turn off if it's not active in the scene. So I think really when I observe it, it's when this value gets set. I think maybe just the understanding of how it's implemented might be slightly different. So what I want to do is, and this should be observable character. I character. And the observed here should get base dot observed, and the set here is going to use let me know how it goes. I think that would make sense if I was doing it in a slightly different way. The way I happen to be, I think in onEnable and onDisable is if I want to be observing that component. I'm not actually observing that component. I'm observing an actual data model underneath that component. So for example, I character isn't a mono behavior, but If I was observing the mono behavior, I think I would want to do it on enabled and on disabled, but the data itself can change because it's not a mono behavior. I just happen to have a mono behavior in my scene so that my objects can communicate with the underlying data. But I could be wrong. Maybe I'm designing this in a very poor way. So I think in this case, I want to do base dot observed is equal to value. So I want to do this first. So I'm going to do everything my parent does. But then additionally, before I do that, actually, I want to check to see if base dot observed, yeah. If base dot observed is not equal to null, I need to clear. So we're changing which character we're observing here. So this is going to be a clear observable. All right, so we'll have a clear observable here. So private void clear. So we stopped listening to the thing that we were listening to before. That's true. That's an option. That might actually make sense. That might make sense. Story Girl. This is it. This is good. See, this is why I've really enjoyed these streaming, because I hear, you know, I get advice from people who know Unity much better than I do. Because I'm really quite new to Unity. So that's a good. I'm trying to do like the good practices within my own like software engineering, you know, mindset. So we're gonna clear the observable, and then after it gets set, we will clear listeners. Then after it gets set, we'll do add listeners. Okay, like this. All right, so I think we do clear listeners and add listeners. Okay, and so add listener. So what we want to do is when we clear the listener, this is going to be to remove us listening. So first off, let's add a listener. So add a listener is going to be our observed is an I character, and this is going to be on change. So on change, we actually need to propagate that up here to force and invoke. So we're going to do a protected void changed. And this is going to force and invoke. So on change dot invoke observed. So it's going to propagate that out. So add listeners on change. So whenever the underlying character observed dot on change. So this is an I character. So when our character changes, we want to propagate that out to all of the objects listening on this component. So we're going to propagate out change. Let's see. Its delegate type is not. Okay. Oh, I have, well, yeah, it's delegate type. Hang on. Change. On change, that invoke, observed. We just want to tell people they need to redraw themselves. Change. Dot add listener. Here we go. It's because this is in a Unity event. We want to add in here that we want to do, yeah. So here we go. That's right. So this should be private void change, and this is going to take in an I character. And it ignores that thing, so it just wants to propagate. We know that the character above, so be base.change. Okay, so this here, change. This feels a little bit awkward, but it's because I want to be able to clear the listener. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to do a lambda here because then I won't be able to remove it. So if I try and remove a lambda, I think they technically have different internals. Okay, so I actually don't think I need clear listeners. And instead I do this. Yes. Okay, so this should allow us. All right, let's see if we get compilation errors. Please no compilation errors. All right, here we go. Our goal here, I think this should. Come on, give me 100 gold. No. Method is not implemented. All right, so our error is player character line 64. Oh, geez. I must have hit I hit something that loaded me up with all kinds of stuff. All right. Let's try again. VS Code. Hey, Bob's got some money. Let's buy a dagger. Bob spent some money. We can keep looking. Buy a short sword. There we go. There we go. All right. All right. I'm really. The design. I did the design well enough that it feels okay. My implementation of these observables made it so that way I could just add a little bit of code here into my observable character and then add it in sort of this observable. So it's like a framework of saying like, okay, if I need to observe something, these are the components I need to implement. These are the components that I need to implement here. Yeah, I feel like in the the base class here, observable component, I should maybe make it so that you have to be. It would be nice to have a little helper here so I don't have to rewrite this. So here's the thing, I've written this a couple times now. I've written this code a couple times. Yeah, so this is really nice, Gavin. This here was really nice because it allows me to reuse. This is an example of where inheritance is a little bit better than composition because it allows me to easily make these observable components as mono behaviors in my scene by extending it this way. So when I extend it, I say, okay, well, we're going to observe this type of thing. One thing that would be nice is if I make this T. So like I'm wondering if I should change this to be an observable T. So we can actually only have observable components of things that can be observed. Right. Well, so here, Story Girl, this is why I might want to do it. If I do it this way, if I'm explicit about it, I can wrap all this magic that I did here in this parent class. All right, so I can wrap it all in this parent class. So that way then I can save it. And then otherwise I have to say, well, then I have to so how would I know what the underlying observable is? So that is, I think, the reason why I want to have the observable. But you're right. It's sort of baked in, and at the end of the day, it just ends up being that thing. but I think it allows me to not have to rewrite this code. So I've rewritten this code twice now, which tells me that I need an abstraction for it. So I'm going to add a little to do here and to make a commit. So to do. All right. Oh, VS Code's loading. Gonna type my garbage here in a second. Please. There we go. So this happens to be potential abstractions. Consider rewriting observable components to only allow observing observable T rather than just T. C observable character for possible implementation details. Yeah. So I want to be able to propagate that information around, but I also don't think that's true because observable item doesn't actually change, right? But I want to be able to have an item that when I modify this thing in my scene. So for example, in my scene here, I have on my shop controller, we have an observable item. Item isn't of type iObservable because items don't change, but I want to be able to observe the shop changing the item. So it's like, oh, I want to observe the shop. Maybe it should be a shop observer in that case. And it's like when the shop's item changes, we know how to get it. So this could just be a bad design here. This might be a code smell showing me that I'm doing something poorly. But before we continue, let's do a commit. We renamed. Oh, I don't want to. Oh, I shouldn't have clicked that. Now it's trying to load the diff of this giant meta file. Give it a second. Come on, Git. Come on, Git. There we go. Oh, no. All right, so this first one was a chore. Rename. We'll just say in player inventory goes to character inventory. Then we made our character, and then the rest of this stuff we'll do chore. I need to stop clicking on these .unity files. All right, chore, update shop scene. And then this here was all of the character stuff. Let's make sure we didn't do anything. Oh, I need to stop clicking on those. Show me this one. This one should be okay to look at. Because it's trying to figure out how to parse these meta files. And this one's brand new. Everything in there looks reasonable. Our character inventory. Story Girl says, the approach I'm taking is to use system.action from that, an action that takes in two types, where T is a reference to the find type event and T is the data event instance, so you don't have to anchor to an event, specify class in a more functional way. That's an interesting idea. That is a really interesting idea. You'll have to, I would love to see what you come, when you're done with it, send me the, if you're willing to, I'd love to check out the source code and see what you come up with. All right, so we made a character observable and updated. All right, so feat iCharacter implement observable. There we go, and then add to do item. Okay. Go ahead and push that up. So our gold now updates properly. We want to add in a sell dialog now. So this is telling me I kind of need to, my purchase dialog, I need to make this more of a confirm cancel dialog. So I think I'm going to start by duplicating it and renaming it confirm or cancel dialog. Oh, you can put space here. Confirm or cancel dialog. Cancel. And this is going to be just a generic UI element that has a confirm and cancel on it. The generic confirm and cancel doesn't have a cost on it, so I can get rid of that. It just has a title, and then this is, I'm going to call message. And this should be a message info renderer. And so we'll end up with a message. I ended up creating like this weird error type that has a title and a message associated with it. I think it should actually be like a dialogue or something, a message class that should be, that have a message and thing. And then instead of keep looking, this is going to be cancel and confirm. So we're going to do it that way. So then back on the top, we have a confirm, and on cancel, you just modify the text of those things to be able to do it that way. But everything else should mostly work the same. And that way I can make a, we can just reuse this to be our purchase dialog and sell dialog. And it'll be sort of like, quote unquote, a prefab subclass. Sounds really cool, Story Girl. I'm really curious. I'm really excited to kind of check it out. And we'll just set the default text here to be cancel and confirm. Okay. I think that's the basics of it. And now in our shop here, the purchase dialog, I need to rework the purchase dialog to actually be to use that underline one. And I'm a little worried because when I do that, it's not gonna let me edit these things. I don't think it'll let me just like come in and modify this if I use it in another prefab. So we're gonna try real quick. Create Dota, happy Saturday, my friend. How are you doing this morning? Let's try sell dialog. See if we can get it to work with a sell dialog. I might need something called like an item dialog. It's nice to see you, Dota. I hope you made it to the weekend. I don't know what your job's like, but I know. Cool, recreational coding. Good. Recreational coding is awesome. That's what we all want to be able to do, right? So we're gonna add in our sell dialog here. We want a container, or we already have a container. So our sell dialog, oh, interesting. I probably need to do it differently. If I add this in here, doesn't give it a rec transform. Okay, let's undo the sell dialog. Let's go to our shop here, sell dialog. Dota, I would actually love your feedback on some of the stuff we're doing. Because you always have like a keen mind for code smells. You always point out some really, really good code smells. I'm using, some observable stuff going on. If you get a chance, I don't know how much you've seen of this, but we're doing observes and like component. Although it is kind of baked a little bit into how Unity does stuff. Yeah, it's on GitHub. I just pushed. Let me grab it for you. GitHub, Captain Coder. Is it on Captain Coder or JCollar? Let's try this one. I think it's over here. I think it's called Dice Roller. Repositories. Dice. I think I might have renamed it. Is it this one? 5 minutes ago, yeah. Oh, it's on the develop branch though. Here, let me resend that. And specifically, there's a lot in here at this point. It's specifically way down. Let me send you a link directly to what I'm doing. It's a little bit awkward and broken up. And I apologize if it's it might just be really hard to read the whole bit here. It's sort of the relationship of observable component. All right, so we got observable component. I'm sending some massive URLs there. And then also sort of the observable character. All right, so it's sort of the relationship of how that works. All right, so I've sent way too many links now, but I'd love if you have a chance, feel free to look at it. If you're busy, if you want to do recreational coding, no worries. I know you always have some really good. You've given me some excellent feedback in the past. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So we're going to delete the cell dialog. Instead, we want to create an empty. This is going to be our cell dialog, and it's going to contain. It's going to be, let's do 800 by 600, and it's going to start off with just it's going to be a confirm cancel dialog. So we add that in there like that, and now this is going to become a shop prefab that I can play with. And so I don't think I can add stuff in here, can I? So I have title cost. I think because it's inside of another prefab. Oh, it does let me do that. Can I add? Oh, maybe I can then. All right, so my purchase dialog, the title cost has this added to it. So my cell dialog will have that here. Yeah, it's telling me I can't do that. Can I just add undo? Can I move this in there? Okay, I can do this the way I want to. Sweet. I just can't modify, I can't delete these things. Okay, so I can have that, and then yeah, this gets attached to the cost. And so this will be that I want to, not the cost, it should be the text on the cost. And we're updating the text to be that new price. And the message stays the same. This is the message info renderer. And the description, the message. All right, so this still updates properly. And then our buttons, we just change them. This is beautiful. No, it turns out I don't have to unpack it to insert new ones. It turns out if you want to delete existing objects, you have to unpack it. So I was hoping I could do it this way, and it's beautiful. No thanks. And then confirm is I'll take it. All right. I think that worked out really nice. And so I can change this title here to be weapon item name will appear here. The cost will appear there. And we can do the little preview there. It goes up to 9, 4 characters. So now we know that it's not going to space out nicely. When we get above 2 characters, and I think I just need to add in a layout element here and tell it that has a flexible width, preferred width, or min width. That's what I want. Min width 200. It's the underlying text that needs the element. Min width 64, flexible width. Min width 200. What's going on? Or is cost not laying the things out? Oh, this needs to tell it that it can expand those things. Okay, that's where it needed to be. All right, so that can expand the children like so. All right, so that's the cost. Item name, confirm, sell. And then we get all the bonus stuff here of can I move that there? Yeah, I can. All right, so we get the purchase dialog script, and really I need to rename this script to be that can't insert between. Oh, so if I wanted to put it there, I can, so I can add it in. That's interesting. That's really, really interesting. Luckily, I just want to add it at the end so it works out. I guess I got lucky on that. So it's our sell dialog. Confirm. And this script really needs to be renamed to confirm cancel dialog script. So let's look for that purchase dialog. This should be confirm cancel dialog. And then I have to go find it here. So pro tip, or I suppose not so pro tip, confirm cancel dialog. Don't rename your files in your editor. Unity will not properly update your objects for you. Oh no. Oh, hang on, it's just that I haven't saved that. Okay, there we go. So if you rename it in the Unity editor, it will automatically update it for you here. So do not, whatever you do, do not modify your file names in your external editor. I've learned that, I've done that. It took me probably 100 to 200 different times. Looked at observable, it looks like it has a getter and setter. I then looked at observable character, similar behavior. I then checked how these are used and noticed both have an inventory. The methods on character should probably have an inventory and mutate that. Ooh, Gavin, I did not know about that. The buybacks, renaming methods work. It's just the top level file name. So in VS Code is where you want to rename the class here. Just don't rename the files themselves. So Dota 2 character.admin kind of thing, character.use item. So there's something interesting. So cool. So Dota, just to explain a little bit about what's going on here, an observable component is a little bit different than like an iObservable. All right, so the iObservable just has an on change. You can't, this is not like a, this should probably be, yeah. So it just has an on change event. All right, so iObservable has an on change event. The component here, you can actually specify the thing that is being observed by the component. All right, so this allows us to have like a shot, have someone say, okay, well, there's an item. So the main idea here is, yeah, without the virtual, it wouldn't compile with the override. That's exactly right. So it's telling us to overwrite that value. So the idea here is I want to be able to have, like an observable character here and be able to have other objects say, okay, this is what you're observing now. So someone else can come and say, okay, we're going to change which character we're observing. It's not about changing it's not when the character's internals change. An observable character is saying like, this is the subject that we're looking at. So an observable component is sort of a thing where things can change what the subject is we're looking at. Whereas, so the name might be bad. It might be bad. Whereas an observable actually says the thing that you're watching can change, compared to an observable component says that there is some container that we're watching for when that character changes. And the idea is, in our shop, for example, let me hide this real quick. In our shop, for example, and maybe this is a bad idea, is when I click this, the object of observation is now the dagger. The object of observation is now the short sword. So it's saying that this container is observable, and we're observing the thing in the container, not that the thing in the container can change. And so with our player character, yeah, it's a little bit different. This is why I wanted your thoughts on it, because clearly it's not named well, and it doesn't, and there's no document, I haven't written documentation on it. And so the observable component might be the wrong thing. It might be like a, observable container, but the idea is like there's a thing inside that, and when someone changes the thing inside, we change that we're observing. And I observable this. So you'll notice this does not extend, not necessarily. So like the shop controller happens to have an observable shop. So when the shop changes, so the idea is when the shop changes, we're going to be like, so we have Wilfred's weapon shop on the scene. We can transition to, Abdul's armor. And so the shop that we're at goes in and we change the shop. So the shop actually gets put in the box, says, okay, now we're at this shop. Let's go look at that shop. And the player, the observable character says, okay, well, we can change the character that's in the box, but we also want to know when the character changes, we need to actually re-render ourselves. So anything that's watching the box also needs to know that the thing inside changed, but the thing inside that doesn't always have to be able to be observed. Anyway, so like I think there's something awkward going on. Changeable might be a better name. Yeah, so I think the name is poor. Consider renaming observable component to not have the word observable. Perhaps changeable. Yeah, so perhaps it's a changeable and that thing can change. And yeah, it's an interesting little thought here that yeah, the naming is bad. Or maybe not well thought out. So naming is so important. It's not communicating what I want, especially if you're familiar with like the observer pattern, right? So initially I had called it a watchable. So initially I had changeable / watchable. And then originally I had called it a watchable, and then I was going like, well, watchable and observable feel like they're the same word. Changeable might be better because it swaps the thing out. Or maybe observable container. This is why I called it an observable component, because we're observing. Yeah, I think container might make more sense. We're observing a container, and so the thing inside the container is swapping out. All right. Well, anyway, thank you so much, Joda, for checking that out. I really appreciate it. We were in the middle of trying to get our cell dialogue to work. Okay. And so we abstracted a cell dialogue, and now we were gonna make it so that our purchase dialogue is essentially the same thing as our cell dialogue. All right, so let's come back to our shop here. And I'm gonna unpack this. And we're gonna delete our, let's be careful, let's not delete things just yet. Let's Let's rename purchase dialog old. And then we're going to do a purchase dialog here. In the purchase dialog, really the only difference happens to be these buttons get renamed. And so the no thanks becomes, what did I say in my scene? Let's go back to my scene real quick. I had keep looking, and purchase. Keep looking and purchase. Okay. Well, I essentially knew what I wanted to do. I just thought the name was bad. So the inventory, great question, Storygirl. Storygirl's asking about how I've implemented my inventory. The inventory has this interface, which is sort of add and remove. You can add things, you can remove things from the inventory. And the shop is actually where you can do something. So I'm going to be really careful not to get crazy out of control. This is not going to be multiplayer. If you want to, you know, what we could do is create something called a subclass of character called the merchant, right? And so the merchant has an inventory, and then you'd have an inventory called, like, you know, a trader, an iTrader, and if you're a trader, you can transact between inventory, something like that. I'm not gonna have direct. You can only buy and sell stuff from shops. So I'm gonna try not to get too crazy. Update, yeah, possibly, Dota. It's all about what makes sense. Change. Really, this should be called redraw. That's really what it should be called. Because it's basically saying force a redraw. It's not necessarily that it's actually changed, but forcing it to redraw. Update might be a better. Yeah, I think update might be better. All right. Before we get too distracted, we're in the process of changing our purchase dialog. Here, we should be able to get rid of that, put in the new purchase dialog. Okay. And rewire this up. So on confirm, we are going to observable shop controller purchase. So we're going to do the actual purchase. Okay. And then in our shop control, we got to talk to our new. So, okay. So when the item changes, this should go to item. All right, so it sets the item there. And then it also should set it active. Or actually, I think... so the purchase dialog needs to have an additional thing here. So I've done something a little silly. Sleep well, story girl. Thank you for hanging out. It was awesome. I love. It's great having you here. This I item needs to actually be in a different dialogue component, so it feels weird to have that there. But when it gets set, it actually renders this thing. So that's what's going on. So confirm dialogue. We set it when we select it. On cancel, we don't do anything extra. Although I think I had done a thing with when we canceled, we sort of cleared out. I think there's an issue here where when I cancel, we'll find out in a second. Let's hide our purchase dialog to begin with. Click that, keep looking, and if so I need to actually clear out when I close the shop. When I close this dialog on cancel, the observable item needs to get cleared. So that way when you click it again, it reopens. So on cancel, it says, okay, we don't clear it out. Keep looking, dagger. Interesting. Did I put that in? All right. Shop controller. What did I have? Purchase. Shop, on air, on purchase. I'm a little surprised that the clear didn't work there. On error. I'm not sure what was going on with the on error here. On change. Let's run it one more time. Let's think about this. So when I select an item and I click keep looking, I need to be able to select that item again. So what's happening is the observer only change. Well, now neither of these are working. Okay, what have I done? Might have to go back in time. All right, let's look at the first click works. It is still firing. The window, our shop on change. Oh. Observable item. Is this not the item that's being observed? The inventory's there. Is the shop the thing that's changing? Let me drop that real quick, because this should be the thing that's changing. All right, so that is triggering it to open. So this is the item that's changing, because the on select interesting is this shouldn't be at the top level. This is interesting. That's at the top level here. Shop inventory. This select needs to be moved up. The on select is upsetting this. So like when an item gets selected, that gets propagated to our shop controller. And our shop controller. Oh, there's a thing missing here. Well, I think this is what was here already, actually. Oh, this is automatically doing it, so it should be. Oh, I could do it this way. So when we click with this item on change. Set item. I need to make that different. I think I know what's going on. I need to make it so that way when an item is selected. Yeah, I don't actually need to call this clear thing on the cancel. I need to call it clear because the item's not changing. What I need to do is when a item is selected in our inventory here, and this is the player's inventory, the shop's inventory, this actually needs to set our purchase dialog to be visible. Yeah, you see it was already set it to true, it already knew. Oh, I'm turning that off. Okay. Okay, something. This outside component is off, which is disabling this thing. So the cancel dialog. All right, so this is in our confirm cancel dialog. It is in the prefab for our so let's go to our, yeah, we need to override in our purchase dialog that when we click cancel, we don't actually want to set that one active. The cancel dialog sets this one active or inactive. So it was setting the internal component. It was hiding the internal component, not the outer component. So when we cancel, we don't want to hide this inside thing. That's the default behavior. We want to hide the one on the outside most one. Yes, I believe. So if I go back to my scene, this is now disabled, and if I click it again, yeah. Okay, it was just disabling the wrong component rather than the outermost component was disabling that. Okay, cool. All right, so now we need to wire that purchase button back up if we haven't done so already. On confirm, we have already wired it back up. Did it? Purchase. On purchase. All right, let's look at what's going on in our shop controller. Failure, success, and potentially other. We need attempting purchase. The on purchase should show like you bought a thing and close this out. So another way to test is in our shop when a purchase occurs. We want to go ahead and hide this, and we're going to show a different one. So we're going to hide that. See whether or not that's actually invoking it. It's not. It's not. Okay. So our purchase dialog isn't firing. Okay. So in our purchase dialog, this the script is gone. Why is that? Confirm cancel script revert. Oh, I moved it up. Okay, so yeah, we wanted to remove that. We moved it here, and then the confirm button, that means that we need to actually propagate it here. Confirm. There we go. So I just didn't wire it up properly. So I'm gonna have to go back and change this. This is where a play test would be wonderful. It would tell me all the things I broke. There we go. Purchased. Purchase, and now I just want to have maybe a sound effect or something. All right, so now I want my sell dialog to show up, and here's the thing, my sell dialog, I kind of want to, all right, let's get rid of, let's save here. My purchase dialog seems to be working properly now. Can buy things. If I don't have enough money, it won't let me. Can I can't modify my player here. Let's just buy. My inventory is it's gonna render off the screen here in a second, so don't judge me. Oh, I can't click purchase as fast as I want. That's okay. We'll edit it in a second. Let's make sure that the error message is still occurring. Character controller. We're gonna give us no money. Notify Dota. Sorry, I just saw your message in the chat there. Notify is a much better name. I think that's what I'm gonna use. So my error's not popping up anymore. So I gotta fix that. And I think that's just, I'll get rid of attempting purchase. That's related to the on error message here. So on error, or it is I bet it's showing up, but we need to actually hide our other dialogues. So when an error occurs, and maybe the error, maybe it's not popping up. Let's see here. Buy a dagger, purchase. Yeah, you don't have enough. Yeah, it passes some to observers. And yeah, I think that is the name that I want here. Notify. It says go ahead and notify the observers. So usually I'm using it in a context where it already sort of exists, right? Normally I don't have to implement it myself, but this is like a weird situation where I want it to sort of, and it's possible that this already exists. Yeah, most of the time it's implemented in a framework for you already. So this is our old cell dialog. Old. This might even just need to be called shop dialog because I'm just gonna use it twice. And it's just the call it's making is slightly different. So I actually think I can duplicate it here. Let me get rid of that. Yeah, because it's committed. And this is gonna be a purchase dialog, and then this one's gonna be our sell dialog. And the only thing we really need to do is on confirm, it should call sell. So in our shop controller, we need to add in a sell. And we need to add in a new event called on sell. Okay. And on sell. It's going to be like the item that the character sold. So there's like a second observable item here, which is interesting. So I think I need, so yeah, so this is interesting. So the shop controller Oh no, it could be the same observable item. Yeah, it is the same observable item. It's just the context in which we're using that item. Yeah. So if it's in the player's inventory, it's actually won't let it. It'll say, "Oh, I don't have that item." If you click it, because we've added that check in, because it clones the item here, and so they're no longer the same item. Shop. Okay, so we can actually use the same one. So the on click for player inventory. So we have this on select. It's sort of the same observable item. We set the item like that. And what's interesting is the dialogues should change. So it's not actually... here isn't where this should be. This should actually be observing the selection in the shop's inventory. So this one, oh, and that we put it there. We were smart. We did put it there. Instead, in the player's inventory, when a thing gets selected, it should actually open up the sell dialog. So it should set this active. And then if we sell an item, we disable the sell dialog. All right, so when we sell an item, this sell dialog closes. On an error, the sell dialog and all of these objects get disabled. Yeah. This is the item that we're observing. It's getting changed. The character can change. And the real thing is in our sell dialog, we want to change these buttons down here to be no thanks. And this one should be I'll take it. Okay. And really though, the title, all right, so we do kind of need a different one here because the value that's going to be displayed should be like lower. It should be the sell value of an item. This is the message renderer. The cost, the item info renderer. Yeah, so we sort of have a sell value on an item. So for now, we'll leave it the same, but when we confirm, this should wire up to our shop, and this calls sell. All right, and for now, sell does nothing, but we can attempting to sell. We can just sort of say this. Let's check it out. And it should be disabled by default. So I need something in my inventory first. I gotta give myself some money. Character controller, let's give ourselves 10 gold. Be able to buy something, then we'll be able to sell it back to test it out. Who knew implementing a shop could be so... well. Sell, is it, our sell dialog's turning on over here. Did I just attach to the wrong thing? Oh, there's our purchase dialog. Why did not... oh, I know why. We do need to... Yeah. In the shop inventory, this should actually be item. It sets the item. Now I think the issue I was having before, where if I click it again, okay, good. That still works. And in our cell, this should be that item. Helps to call the right methods. Purchase. Short sword, I'll take it, no thanks. And the message should be like, are you sure you want to sell this item? Okay. All right, so when we click on that, the sell dialog needs to be a little bit different. So its message renderer should do something slightly different. And in this case, it's going to be, yeah, so message. So let's add to our item, or maybe the shop should determine how much it will buy something for. Yeah, I think that makes sense. iShop. Public int so we need a couple things here. We need a public iResult sell, and this is going to take the item to sell and the iCharacter shopper, so this person's selling it. But we also want to be able to ask how much will this shop pay for this thing. So we do public int sell price item to sell. So it'll tell this shop will tell you how much they'll pay for it. And we can even say given the shopper. So we'll say given a character, we will tell you how much we'll buy this item. So you could potentially, I'm not going to do this. You could potentially have like some faction or something with the shop. So this is going to tell me that I need to update my shop class to implement these. Okay. So when we sell, we'll have some logic we do there. But the sell price, I'm just going to for now say that this is going to be half. To sell dot cost divided by 2. The shop will give you half the value. Right, so this is how we're going to get the price. And we need to get that message to our dialog. All right. So when our shop controller, when we click an item, actually needs to do like an evaluate. Needs to evaluate. So rather than just turning the sell dialog on, we need to get the like sale information and propagate that to our sell dialog. So our sell dialog message render is a little bit different. And in fact, it's going to sort of have the different change the name and description and message. So we actually kind of need a message renderer. So like a sale message renderer. So it's not the same item info renderer. It should be based on that. Gaze, happy Saturday. Welcome aboard, my friend. Welcome to the stream. First, let me ask, what's your programming background? So it's a little bit different if you already have some programming knowledge. My recommendation will be a little bit different than if zero background. Okay. So my recommendation is to not jump right into Unity. My recommendation is always to learn the basics of programming first. So it'll take like 20 to 40 hours to get the basics down. Okay. If you want to, I'm turning this project I'm doing here as a prototype. What I'm coding right now is a prototype that I'm turning into a class project to teach people, here's how you might approach creating an RPG. That said, to even get started on this, you need to know these things. What is a variable? How do I declare variables? How do I use them? What are the different variable types? What's a string? What's an integer? What's a float? What's an array? So like we got to know different types of variables. We have to understand Boolean logic, which is how we make decisions in programs. So using Boolean logic, then you can ask the computer, if this condition is true, what should we do? You need to know how to do loops. So how to do iteration and methods. So before you would start this project, you want to know these things. All right. So if you're just learning to program, I love C#. I think it's a very, very approachable language. I'm writing, I shouldn't say I have written, but I am writing a learn to program in C# workbook. So this is a workbook that has lots of lessons and activities for you to complete and practice. So if you want to start there, you can. If you prefer there's no videos on this site. If you prefer a physical book, I always recommend the C# Player's Guide. This book's sitting here on my desk. This is a really, really good, absolute beginners programming book for C#, and it's sort of gamified in the sense of doing RPG stuff. So, you'll have challenges in here that are, things like one of the challenges is like the Arrow Factory. Oh, you can't see here. The Arrow Factory, the Magic Cannon. So it's very RPG themed, and I think this is an awesome resource. And it starts you out at 0 and teaches you to program in C#. Start to finish, this book is awesome. I've used this book a lot. I think it's the best book for absolute beginners learning C#. Let me turn off that camera there. If you want a free, so this book I think is $30. So which is out of some people's price range. Another book I recommend is the Yellow Book. This is a free book if you want to get a free PDF. This book is pretty good. I don't think it's as good as the C# Player's Guide. All right, C# Player's Guide. I don't think it's as good as the C# Player's Guide, but it's free. There's a free PDF copy. You can buy a physical copy of it as well. And so this is where I would start to learn programming. I don't typically recommend online videos. So videos that claim to teach you to program, I haven't found a really good video source for it. And my main thing is when you follow along in tutorial videos, you end up missing a lot of nuance behind how to do it, and you can't ask questions. And the books tend to be written with like answering questions as you go. There's communities that you can ask questions. Tutorial videos aren't as good. Udemy, I can't recommend any Udemy courses, but that's just because I haven't used them. Dota, if you have some Udemy courses, Dota is an excellent programmer as well. So, Gaze, if Dota has, Dota, if you have some recommendations, I'd love to hear them. But yeah, Gaze, that's sort of where I'd start. I'd learn to program first, and then you'll sort of using that as once you have a foundation, so like 20 to 40 hours, then you can start your first project. But yeah, it turns out making an RPG is pretty there's a lot of room for complexity. And so I'm trying to manage that complexity. All right, what time are we at? I got to be careful. I have a lesson today at 9. Oh, so I have a lesson in an hour and 45 minutes. So I probably got to wrap up here in 45 minutes to an hour. Unfortunately, I haven't found any particularly, in my I've looked, I haven't found any particularly good C# specific videos for learning to program. There's lots of videos out there on advanced topics, but all the ones that I find for learning, so like learning C# from scratch, I just don't think are very good. I haven't found any that I thought are great. And so like part of me wants to build them, but I just, defeated by time. Always defeated by time. All right, so we sort of need an evaluate thing here that will allow us to send a message to the cell dialog. So we kind of need like this idea of like a sale proposal, which has like the item for sale, the message, and the price, which is interesting. It's an interesting thought there. And I can cheat a little bit, which feels bad. So we sort of like need this message, a sale proposal to send. But we need this. Yeah, so I think I need to make a class here in our model, in our shop, sale proposal. And this feels like a stupid. So anyway, guys, I hope I answered your question. I hope that was helpful. And of course, you're always free to hang out here. This is my, I try and teach programming here. Or I am a computer science teacher. I teach programming to new people, to new students. I have students. And right now I'm sort of building a prototype, trying to understand how I would do that. Here's the thing. I wanted to make an RPG project for my students, and so I decided to prototype it, and that made me realize, hey, that's exactly right. I decided I wanted to do this as a project in my Unity class, and it has made me realize, hey, this really isn't a good first project at all. It's a horrible first project because of the complexities. And so I'm going to use it as a later project in the class. Sale proposal. And a sale proposal has a public string item, item name, or maybe it should take in an item itself, item. Public string, okay, public int value. This is the amount that they're going to offer, and then a public string message. So it's like the message that the shop owner is going to give you. Public sale proposal. This is where I wish, I'm really looking forward to when they have records here in, I'm gonna actually just change this to a string called title. Sale proposal, string, title, int value, string message. Yeah, so I am going to actually, it's also like a heavily focused on programming. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have them create a dice roller. Their first project is going to create a dice roller, which they're going to learn some user interface stuff, but it's like a dice notation analyzer. So you can do like 3d6 plus 2d4, and you've probably seen this, I keep showing it, and you get this histogram. So this is going to be their first project. Then we're going to go into my Space Raiders project, which I did before. So that's going to be a 2D shooter, how to control stuff on the screen. Yeah, so this makes them do program, like quote unquote, I hate to say real programming, but this gets them to learn how to design, okay, well, how do I do a dice group? How do I do parsing? So one of the things about it is you need to be able to write this dice notation. you need to be able to parse that thing in. So it hits a lot of topics that I like to cover. So dice note, you know, parsing, arrays, also like some good stuff, and then a histogram thing. So this is gonna be the first project, and I've told them that the class isn't a game design class. It's a, you know, higher level programming class, and we're using Unity to do stuff. So they will get a chance to do games, but the first thing we're doing is not games. It's more about understanding how UI works a little bit, and then how to write classes, sort of the model view controller. So we have a model, the dice group's the model, the view is the interface, and the controller is the thing that interacts between those two. And then we're going to do the 2D space shooter. And then I want to do a physics-based game, physics-based thing after that. Maybe not a game, but maybe a thing that uses Unity physics to simulate stuff. So this should just be a really simple title equals title, value equals value, message equals message. But yeah, my ambition with this project was just too big. Too big. And now in our shop, we're gonna do evaluate sale. We still need this. Yeah, evaluate sale. Evaluate item, and this is gonna be a sale proposal. That wasn't Unity. Let's have Unity build this for us. Sale proposal. There we go. And then in our actual shop, sale proposal, this will come down to a message, new sale proposal. Are you sure, or selling, and then the item name. To sell dot name. Come up with a message in a section, and then it's going to be to sell dot cost divided by 2. And the message is going to be something like, looks a little worn out. Let's break this up a little bit. Looks a little worn out. We'll reuse this value here. Int value equals to sell cost divided by 2. That to sell dot name looks a little worn out, but we can do this too. But I'll give you, we won't do that. I'll give you value gold for it. What do you think? There we go. So now we have a sale proposal and different shops. So the thing is, this is interesting because you can make different shops say different things depending on the character or the item. Maybe there's certain items they won't buy. So for example, if an item's cursed, so like, I don't buy unidentified items, or that I don't buy items that look sketchy. But we can change this if we want to. So it gives us a little bit of flexibility there. All right. And so now our sell dialog needs to take in a sale proposal rather than an item info render. It's going to take in a sale proposal. So I need a sale proposal renderer. And I'm not going to edit that there. I need to edit that in my sell prefab. Oh, it's a purchase dialog. So I do need to make a different dialog. Good. My gut intuition told me I did need to make a different one. Okay, so can I do this? Prefab variant. Yes. Yes. I think someone said that this, I think it was Gibbons. Or Gabbin. Gabbins. Yeah, variant, prefab variant. Awesome. I learned something new. Okay, our cell dialog happens to be similar, except oh, this is fascinating. You can't see it. That's okay. The variant itself doesn't have an item info renderer. It is going to have a go to our UI shop. This should be like a sale proposal render. So I'm going to copy this. It's going to be very similar, but this is a sale proposal renderer. And this is part of our shop. And let's rename that sale proposal renderer. And we'll adjust these names in a second. We're gonna get Unity to compile it for us, just so we can figure out what we're doing. Okay, so we gotta import this. Don't need the dice anymore. Don't need TM Pros. All sorts of bad imports. I'm sad about that. I'm gonna go back and fix that. Okay, so on change cost, on change name, so this should be on change title, and this is on change message, on change message. So on change, and it's not an item, this is a sale proposal. So yeah, we don't actually need this anymore. And so it should be our proposal dot title proposal dot, this should be called value, and this one's message. Proposal dot message. Okay, and these both happen to have 3 things in them, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't change later. So I was noticing I was doing a little bit of copy and pasting stuff, but I don't think that, maybe there's some kind of thing I could do up above to generate these, but to get them to show up in the editor, I don't think there's, it'd be nice to know. I'm not sure. So this should be called sale info renderer, or proposal renderer, and we update our title like this. We update our value like this. Lock this because I'm about to click away on it on accident. And then we update the message as well. Text. So this forwards those. If we have multiple things listening, we can put them in multiple places. That's the power of using the event over like the component itself. So proposal info render, and all right, we can unlock this now. And where does it get its proposal from? That comes from our cell. All right, so this needs to be a cell dialog. A cell dialog. So this needs a cell dialog component on it, which will propagate that down. By default, we don't have anything there, but a cell dialog script. So this should be in our, this should be called like, I think this is still our purchase dialog, but we'll do a cell dialog. Like this. Let it build over here. Because it's going to have a confirm cancel dialog as well as a cell dialog. And so I think our confirm cancel needs to be sort of in sort of its own UI in like in a dialogues area. And then because this one, it has the item. So this no longer has an info renderer. This should be our sale proposal renderer. And it's going to get a sale proposal coming in. And it's going to propagate that to our renderer. I'm noticing a pattern here. There's probably an abstraction I can do. Unable to create cell dialog. No. So I'm smelling a pattern here. Notice my copy. When you do copy paste, you're selling a pattern. Potentially a subclass of some type. There's no confirm cancel on this one. It's literally just propagating that down to its child. So it finds in the child this renderer. So it says go find the renderer when you start up. And then you can send messages to it. So this should have a cell or a cell dialog on it, yeah. And so maybe the cell dialog should be a subclass of confirm dialog, and confirm dialog shouldn't have an item in it either. So I'm not gonna touch that yet because I don't want to break the way it was working up above. All right, so cell dialog. We can now register this on our shop controller, which is now going to have, if we go to our shop controller, the shop can now evaluate an item. So it's sort of like on evaluate item. On evaluate item, it's going to propagate that up to anything that wants to find it. So this is the sale proposal. And so now we need to be able to do an evaluation as well. I don't know why I copied that. There's no real reason. Evaluate item. And we go down to our shop, the observed shop, and we call evaluate item. So we're like sort of forwarding in the different things that we are observing. So this is sort of the way we've abstracted that. So this is going to get our sale item. So evaluate item propagates this sale proposal. That autocomplete was not what I wanted. To our on evaluate item dot invoke. So we send this proposal to anyone that happens to be listening to us, which will be our cell dialog, and our cell dialog will then open itself up. We got a lot going on here. So we're following, the principle of single, each class should have a single purpose. The cell dialog knows how to handle this. It knows how to do a proposal. So you end up with a bunch of small testable files, ideally small testable files. So although our shop controller feels like it's getting a little bit big. So on evaluate item, we forward that up. And now we can register our cell dialog, which knows how to handle that for itself. So the nice thing is the way we've designed this is you could potentially switch to like a text-based mode right? So you could easily use all this same stuff. It's not tightly coupled with my interface. This particular scene has coupling with the interface, but I could create another scene called like text shop and let the user type stuff in and write a text-based version where we send these things back and forth without modifying my underlying work too much. So sale dialog now gets that sale proposal, and the sell dialog knows that when it gets it, it should render itself, oh, this needs to be renamed. This should be just render. Yeah. So instead of having like a sell dialog and a sale proposal renderer, I could have in my text adventure somewhere, I could make it a text adventure and have, you know, no longer a sell dialog, it becomes like a text sell dialog that knows how to do it that way. But I am sensing some abstraction that I'm missing. All right. Let's done a lot here. Let's buy ourselves a sword. All right, we do have an error. Unable to create purchase dialog. Because it couldn't find it in children. So, and that's why we do this. That's why you do this. Say, okay, now we find that error immediately. And confirm dialog line 37. Ooh, what is this thing? All right. All right, so this is telling me that I need to separate these things out now. Yeah, so my confirm dialog. All right, this makes sense. I actually need to have a purchase dialog. And so now my confirm dialog actually doesn't care about the item itself. So it shouldn't have to do this. And so we're going to separate that out into my purchase dialog does this thing. And so my sale dialog shouldn't have that. It still needs the confirm dialog. Oh no, I've messed up here. Oh, don't go back to Unity yet. Confirm. Cancel dialog. You got to be careful renaming your stuff. And I said, so I keep saying this, don't rename your stuff in your editor, and then here I am renaming my stuff in my editor. I thought I was renaming the new file. Once Unity knows about it, you're in trouble. You rename it here. Unity will update your scripts on all of your objects. If you rename them in Unity, if you rename them outside of Unity, it breaks it. And you'll get a warning saying, hey, don't do that. And then all of your things are broken. We don't want that because we haven't committed in a while. Okay, so now hopefully, please don't yell at me. Okay, we're sort of okay here. The one thing is, well, there's multiple things probably. Okay, so this should be called, okay, good, purchase dialog. We have a purchase dialog here. Oop, I've accidentally lost. I'm gonna go back in time here. I can't. Could not undo. I need something that looks like this. So you'll notice I'm having a pattern here between my sale and my purchase dialog. So it's sort of like I need a dialog type of some kind of, you know, a dialog renderer that you'll notice my purchase and sale look the same except for the type. So I could potentially do some sort of a type T here. So this should be called like a sale proposal. This one should be called like an item Anyway, I'm not, this should be an item info renderer. Compiles, and my purchase dialog now needs to get updated with a purchase dialog. And what we can say is, well, a purchase dialog happens to also require type of confirm cancel dialog. So that's something that it needs to have to, I guess it doesn't actually need it, but I think logically this makes sense. Okay. And the idea was in our shop controller or in our shop inventory, this actually becomes our purchase dialog item rather than setting it in our confirm dialog. And our player inventory, this becomes our sell dialog. Oh, it doesn't do our sell dialog. Actually, our clicking on that doesn't do it. That actually forwards it to the shop, which sets the sale proposal. So it's slightly different. Okay. Cross my fingers here. Hope this is working. Did I break it? No, that works. Sale isn't popping up. But that could be in my shop controller. When we click something, yeah. So in our inventory, when we click it, we're not observing the item anymore. In addition to observing the item, so it needs to set that item, we also need to have our shop controller evaluate item. So it's going to set the item and then evaluate it. Which tells me I might be able to simplify that in my shop controller. Or when I evaluate an item, item to evaluate. I'm going to evaluate an item here. And then it'll set the to evaluate. So it's going to set that and then propagate it. I have an hour and 15 until my class starts. Gee, thank you so much. But yeah, I wanted to stop. I wanted to try and stop. I appreciate that so much. I want to try and stop about an hour ahead so I could, give myself a second coffee, prep myself a little bit for it. I appreciate that, G, very much. Thank you for looking out for me. Okay, so I think when we evaluate the item here, it should be good this way. And so rather than setting the observable item, now I don't have to do both. When I evaluate an item, it also sets it to be observable. So I can get rid of that, and this becomes my shop evaluate item. Let's give it a shot. Wiring things up in the editor's tricky. So all the more reason to make your code. There we go. That dagger looks a little worn out, but I'll give you 1 gold for it. What do you think? No thanks. And then I haven't implemented the actual sell yet. Okay, I'm getting close though. I'm getting close. I'm not calling sell yet, I don't think. So sell dialog on confirm, shop controller. This will actually call sell. Okay. And then the actual sell should look similar to purchase. But rather than calling purchase, we're going to call sell. Okay, and right now, sell just throws an exception in our shop. So we got to check some stuff out first. if the shoppers.inventory does not contain the thing they're trying to sell, we're going to return a failure. You don't own that. What are you trying to pull here? Okay. This will be like a dialogue message that comes up here. So if they try and sell something they don't have, which in our graphical interface isn't something you can do, but in a text interface, this would be something that you could potentially do, try and sell an item that's not yours. Or somehow you click sell twice. We need to be able to handle that. All right. Otherwise, if they have it, we can sell it. So it's going to be result equals shopper.inventory.remove to sell. So we're going to remove it from the inventory. We're going to say if it was a failure, we're going to return the failure. Otherwise, we're going to give the shopper, ooh, this is interesting, gold. So we actually have to get the evaluate to it here. All right, so in this case, evaluate sale proposal. This feels a little bit overkill here. To sell shopper sale proposal or here we do int value equals dot value. You just pull that out there. Evaluate item. This feels overkill. I almost need a private thing that gets the value out for me, so I don't have to do it this way. And we will do shopper.gold plus equals value. Give them that much gold and we return iResult. Success. Nice doing business with you. Okay, so now we have a sell. What's interesting is, oh, this is no longer on purchase. We need an on sale. We have that, hey. And really this should take like a result dot success. On sale. On sell. We know it's a success. Can I do this here? We know it's a success, so but we can't pattern match here. Gonna say use pattern matching. Yeah, I want to, but I can't just use it to do. Oh, I guess I could do this. It wants me to do this. Result switch. I'm not setting it. Can I do that without? It says I have to set it. Only assignments. Yeah. It says I can only do it with assignments. I'm gonna leave this for now, but we're gonna cast it there. Else we should probably throw an exception. Throw new system dot operation invalid operation exception. Could sale resulted in unknown result. Okay. So it's like something terrible has gone wrong here if this happens. So otherwise we invoke on sell success and we can have like a message dialog that knows how to display that. Result.message. Oh, we have this result.error. Yeah, this is why I wanted to make like an error type class. All right, well, let's check this out. I think we should be able to sell. It'll update the inventory. We just won't get like the message from from the shop just yet. Purchase. I'll take it. 7 gold, remove some memory. All right. Okay, let's do a commit here. I'm really happy with this. We've done a lot. So we've essentially added in the purchase dialogue, the sale dialogue, and all of the necessary stuff. Looks like we didn't get off track too much. It looks like all this stuff is related. Confirm, sale. So the first thing is we abstracted. Yeah, so this is all sort of like a unit of logic. So, and we added a thing to it to do. That was a little bit separate. Okay, so our stage thing here is we feature implement purchase / sell dialogues. Added evaluate item to shop. Added sell to shop. All right. And then chore, add to do item. Add that in. Terrible message. Okay. Whew. Okay, so do I want to stop here? Do I want to get this? I want to refactor this error dialogue. I want to change it just to be a confirm dialogue. And it's going to accept a message. And so it should be a UI element. I'm going to move it from shop here to UI elements. Oh, there's already a thing here called error dialogue. Oh my goodness. This is... I like having the title, so we're gonna rename this error dialogue old. We're gonna move our error dialogue to UI elements, and the idea with our error dialogue is we have a. This shouldn't be an error dialogue. Okay, this should just be message or confirm dialogue. So it's literally just a confirm. It's a dialogue that pops up, and all I can do is click it's confirm. And it no longer should be called error dialogue renderer. It should be called a message renderer. And our message renderer, I'm gonna change this script. Error dialogue renderer. Renaming my file in Unity here. This is gonna be our message renderer. Okay. And so that don't edit the non-existent file. Failed to save. Yeah, I know. Message renderer. And this becomes a message renderer like this. And then these will become on title change, on message change, and render message. And we want this to no longer be like an error type. This is going to be, all right, don't do this here. Rename files in Unity. Aryan over on YouTube, I'm so sorry. I don't know when you said yo, but yo, nice to see you. I just saw the chat. I don't know if that's been there for a while or not. So I apologize if I was ignoring you. Was not intentional. Error. So this should be renamed to message, which I hope doesn't break anything. Alright, so this is now going to be message. Alright, compile please. No. clear. Okay. Can't have the same thing. All right, so instead of message, then this will be value. Or text. Text. All right, so like this would be like your quote unquote summary, and then this would like be the body. And then we're gonna reconnect this dialogue here. We say that our title, we'll lock this for a moment. Our title is the thing that changes here. And our message. And so this here should be our text. And our text is here. And then our confirm button, I think, just works the same. Oh. Still called error dialog. Yeah, so this is now message dialog. So we want to rename that error dialog. Sorry, doing message. We don't have that yet. So error dialog. We might actually finish on time today. I've been going really long in the streams the last couple days. So that's gonna cause some issues. So we need to rename this now to message dialog. It finds our renderer, and this becomes interesting. Message, I suppose. Like the message that we're rendering, that we're passing to our message renderer. Maybe. Yeah. So I want this on the top level. The message thing has a message renderer. Yeah. Notice I've done this a couple times. There's this, again, code smell here. This code is identical in a couple places except the renderer thing. So I almost need a type called renderer, or like a dialog that lets us specify the underlying renderer. So I should add that into my to-dos here. To-dos, code smells. So this one here, observable component. And then here we just added another one, dialogues, the share, copy, paste code. The message dialog, sell dialog, and purchase dialog. There is room for abstraction in these. So if we were to look at each one of these, sell dialog and purchase dialog, they're identical. They're identical. The only difference is what renderer we're using. So these dialogues should probably take in a renderer that knows how to render the underlying thing that it's a dialogue for. So yeah, there's this interesting code smell that's happening here. They all should likely have a parent type dialog renderable t. So that way there's a parent here that knows how to do it. If we have a renderable, we have a dialog, we know how to propagate that information down. And I think we could do it with that, but I don't want to do it here because I'm in the middle of a feature here. We don't, and it's sort of a separate matter. So I'm trying not to get distracted. And we go into, I'm going to get rid of this error dialog, and instead we are going to add in our confirm dialog. All right, so the confirm dialog is going to accept messages. Yeah, so on error and on sell and on purchase are actually going to have messages that they send out. Okay. Or you need some way to transform the value that they have into that, but I think that's what I want to do. So in our shop controller, these are just sort of to notify, hey, what's the message? So on purchase, message. On error, message. On sell, message. So we just propagate those messages out here. And so thank you, G. I'm so close. Oh, I keep saying that, but I'm closer than ever. Let's say that. I appreciate it, G. We're almost there. And what we're gonna do is we know result is a success. And so we're gonna do new message, shop.observed.name. Here's what's interesting is now, because I've done it this way, Apollo, can you play it on console? So you want to play it in a console? It's set up in a way where you could essentially, the data is abstracted in a way that you could write a console version of this, I think, without a ton of difficulty. The model here should probably be its own assembly. The model here, for the most part, there's a few spots for where it uses unity.random, where it is has Unity stuff going on with it, and it also has like some serialization stuff with Unity. So, but it's really close to being able to do it as a console. You could write a Unity console and do it. But yeah, because I need, for serialization purposes, I could rewrite it. The answer is almost. I want it to be that way. That's one of my goals here. So our message actually is nice. So our new message. So it's nice with this result. We actually can just, I wasn't expecting this to happen. Message, message. We want it to be shop.observed.name, comma, and then the actual text is just our result.message. And then we do on, and then depending on which one it was, we just invoke that message. Ooh, we can use pattern. Oh, I'm so happy. Remember when it was yelling at me? Use pattern matching. So here's where we can finally do it. We can do it. Because these are the same types, we can actually do Unity event message. Check this out. Check it out. Unity event message handler, or the correct event. We're gonna select the event using pattern matching. Switch. Result. Switch. Please tell me that unit. This version of we'll call it handler, and we say if it's a failure, use on error, and if it's a success, we use on purchase, and if it's anything else, come on, we're gonna throw a new system.invalid operation exception. Could not determine correct event to use for message. And now, oh, beautiful. handler event dot invoke with my message. And this is going to be repeated in each one of these sections. And so I can abstract that down to private static void, private static unity event message, handler, and it's going to take in. Could also just have this take in a message. Send message. Yeah. So we'll do this. Send message. It's going to be a void, and it takes in a message M, and it does this. And this is going to be var handler. Can I do that? No. Needs to know that it. Oh, it probably could actually. Ha! I'm just dumb. Message. Result. Alright, so this is taking a result. R. Result. Does this. I result. All right, so we have this send message. And so now here, purchase just becomes, really I could do it in one line, but for send message result. And down here, sale becomes send message result. There we go. There we go. Now we gotta rewire our dialogue for each of our message types. And in fact, we almost just need a, rather than having an on error, on evaluate, it's all one. It's all one here. So this is actually just, I'm just gonna change this to on message. And I can get rid of all of these because they're all the same. Although I might want to like play a sound or something that's different. Yeah, I'm gonna keep them different. Never mind. Because I want a so on purchase I want to like play a coin sound. On sell I want to do, you know, maybe do something else, and on error maybe not have a sound. Okay, so rather than that, we're just going to register the confirm dialog, and you could potentially have like a different colored dialog or something for each one. So we're going to do that. On error, we want our confirm dialog to get the new message. And then same thing for on purchase. Our confirm dialog will get a message, and on sell, confirm dialog will get a message. Okay. Let's pray and hope. Purchase. Thank you for your purchase. No thanks. I'll take it. Nice doing business with you. All right. Oh, when we sell, we also want to close the sell dialog. We do sell dialog. Hide it. Interesting. It was. This is an interesting little bug. Purchase. I'll take it. The sell dialog's still open. Darn, reading up on how to code more hours into. So are you trying to code more hours per day or code the world to have more hours? Trying trying to code more hours in the day. What's interesting is, so this is cool to know that my error message works. It says you don't own that. When I tried to sell it twice, it won't let me sell it twice, which is kind of cool. But I don't understand. Oh, so you're saying before you're too tired to program? Dota, is that sort of what you're saying? When I click I'll take it, it's a muscle. You got to build it up. If they're saying you can't, I don't think that's necessarily true. There is like an upper limit. So like yesterday, I think I programmed for like 16 hours and I was burning out at the end. But I haven't always been able to do that. It's a muscle. It's a, and I don't know if that's entirely true that it's a muscle, but it comes with practice. That said, I wouldn't go for more than 8 hours a day on a regular basis. That's how you die. It's hard. Yeah, so obviously there's going to be a limit for each person. But yeah, I've done like crazy coding sessions. I think, why doesn't this close on? So the cell dialog's not closing on the cell, which is interesting for some reason. Can I make it? Well, let's make it so that this thing, when we confirm, it'll go ahead and turn itself off. Can I do that? Oh, I shouldn't be editing this in play mode. This is surprising to me. Something is causing it to turn back on. And I'm not sure. But I gotta stop here in 2 minutes, so this is gonna be my last little attempt here, and if it doesn't work, I gotta come back to it. It turned off. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and save that. I think our shop scene is essentially, with the exception of having like a leave button, is in a pretty good place. All right, so let us commit this. So we refactored our message dialog like that. Beat or refactor error dialog to message dialog. Additionally, attach it to shop scene. All right, I'm incredibly happy with this. Here, can I open up my to-do here? Just make sure. To-do. I didn't finish any of this. I'm not sure I didn't meet my goals. I didn't meet any of my goals, sadly. This turned out to be those first three, those one, part A and part B, were gnarly. I didn't do my shop exit button, but that's okay. I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. And we updated our to-do chore update. To-do list. Okay, but I'm thinking this. Anyone wants to find the source code, it's posted. I'll post a link to it again. It should be in the video description as well. But I gotta head out. I got a lesson in 45 minutes. Thank you everyone so much for hanging out. It's been super fun. How many people? It doesn't look like there's that many people in the chat. So I think I'm gonna to not. don't think I'm going to do a raid just because there's not many people here. But have a beautiful day. As always, keep on coding, keep on growing, and you're welcome back anytime. Take care. Bye-bye.